After the quota laws passed by the US Congress in the 1920s, immigration was capped for the first time in American history. One of the exceptions to the strict quotas were documented contract workers from the Western Hemisphere who could come into and out of the US freely. The other major exception were the hundreds of thousands of refugees who were allowed in, mainly Jews escaping the horrors of the Holocaust during and after World War II, and the roughly 400,000 families who fled Cuba after the Castro-led revolution of 1959. The US entrance into World War II also meant many more Mexican workers were needed to fill in for all the young American men who were off fighting the Germans in Europe and the Japanese in the Pacific. At the end of this period, between 1944 and 1954, the number of immigrants coming from Mexico increased by 6,000%, as many Latin American workers were offered low-wage agricultural jobs in the American Southwest as part of the Bracero program. But large numbers of Mexicans without the necessary paperwork came in search of the American dream too, and what followed is one of the ugliest periods in US immigration history. With pressure mounting to do something about the thousands of immigrants easily crossing the southern border each year, President Eisenhower turned to General Joseph Swing, who launched Operation Wetback in 1954. That derogatory name reveals the insensitivity of the policy, which directed hundreds of federal officials to lead thousands of local police officers on sweeps through neighborhoods throughout the American Southwest, stopping any Mexican-looking person and demanding to see their papers. If they didn't have their papers, they were arrested and deported. Some estimates put the amount of illegal immigrants thrown out of the country above 1 million, leading to countless families being torn apart. In some cases, their American-born children were even sent away. Obviously, this program angered many Mexican-American citizens and anyone else who saw it as a blatant violation of human rights on a massive scale.
What we have here is an aggressive and sort of paramilitary approach into deportation and mass deportation, and of course the use of propaganda to address the issue of unauthorized Mexican workers in the United States. Because the Border Patrol agency was so small, they're using local law enforcement. So while they're out there trying to look for undocumented immigrants, what aren't they doing? Their own basic responsibilities of keeping neighborhoods safe, addressing burglaries, murders, whatever it could be. The Operation Wetback was terminated in large part because of cost, in large part because of it just became too taxing on local resources. What we also found out is that regardless of how far you sent them into the interior, within days, sometimes weeks, we're right back in there.
Thanks for watching this installment in our series on the history of immigration in America. You can watch the final part here, or go back and start with part 1 by clicking on the video in the upper right, or watch our most recent video, or check out our breakdown of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. For the two-man team here at TDC, I'm Bryce Plank. These videos are edited by my brother, Brendan Plank.